friends, Tiffany here. Welcome to my quilting life. In today's video, we're going to talk about rulers and templates. Rulers and templates. The reason why we're in this room is because there's some in here first. So we're going to get started on the ones that are in this room, and then we're going to move over to my sewing room and talk about the ones over there. So here we are in my cutting area of my fabric room. Now I'm in this area more than I am cutting fabric over in the other room, unless it's for a video for you guys. So here is my nighttime area where I come in here quietly while Scott is asleep and I cut loads of fabric. So these are my most used rulers over here. So we're going to get started. All right, so over here I have a few different rulers. We're going to start with this one. Now I have a few of these OmniGrip rulers, and I can say, even though I have a favorite, which is Quilter Select, I also love certain other kinds of rulers. So OmniGrip is one of the ones I actually like. These, they grip easily to fabric when you're trying to cut. It holds, stays nice when you're going to cut and then you cut and you make your cuts. It doesn't actually take the fabric with it, but it's really nice to read the lines. They are very clear and precise, and I love that about these. Then over here, I do have a Creative Grids. This is my only little Creative Grids ruler that I actually own. I have a Creative Grids 5-inch square. Now the lines on this one are absolutely amazing. You can see every single line when you're lining it up on your fabric, whether it's black fabric or white fabric or any color fabric. I can see that black line because it's so clear. I did make mine not movable with some ruler grippy things. I'll give you the name of those when we get to the other room. I don't know the name of them offhand, but they actually work great on any size ruler. So I have those on here. I can really read it nicely on this little 5-inch Quilters or Creative Grid ruler. Another one I keep over here is a Missouri Star ruler. This is the 2.5 by 8-inch. This is very common because I do cut a lot of 2.5-inch stuff in this room. So that's a very common one to use. I don't use this one as much. This is an OmniGrid, same as the OmniGrip kind, the brand, but this one's OmniGrid. I don't like these. Reason is, if you can see here on my hand, you can see these have so many markings and it just confuses me. So I don't even bother with this one, but it is a 4.5-inch square. So if I do want a fussy cut, a 4.5-inch square, I just cut around and don't even bother with any markings on here. So OmniGrid are kind of knocked off my list of rulers that get used. This is also OmniGrid. As you can see, it has all these markings, and I don't like that it's highlighted around each of these. I don't like the way it's highlighted on these. Again, this is just a 6.5-inch square, so when I want a 6.5-inch square, I lay it where I want it and cut out just the 6.5. I don't pay attention to any of the markings. Then we have OmniGrip. Again, the line is highlighted outside of the line, so you can see it on any color fabric because it's to me better than the OmniGrid ones. OmniGrip is better than OmniGrid, just in case you were curious. This one I do use of the OmniGrid. This one I use commonly because this one is 6 inches by 12 inches. And this one is great for when you take your fabric off the bolt and it's folded twice. This one is great for lining this up and cutting it. You line it up with the straight edge of your fabric and you cut it, and you can cut the longer things. This one's markings are just a tidbit easier to read than this one. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because they're thinner lines, but I like these. And then moving on, there are weird rulers out there. Like here's a postcard one. I don't really cut many postcard pieces, but this is just a 6-inch by I don't even know what inch, 4-inch ruler. This is good if you are cutting a specific size, but you really can't see the lines too well. But it's in here because if I need it, it's here. Then we have this dog. This is a Fiskars 6-inch by 24-inch. This is very hard to use. This one slips really easily. So this is the kind of ruler when you lay it on here and you go to cut your fabric, you start right here with your cutting, you start right here and then you pause, don't move anything. Try to put your hand back down nicely, keep going, pick up, keep going. I really, really, really don't like the markings on this either. It's just good for a long straight line if you need it. But this one is really slippy. So even holding it, it just slips and it ruins everything. So I try not to use this as much, but if I need it, it's here. And then there are all sorts of other kinds of rulers out there on the market. If you are centimeters, I do have a centimeters marker, but I don't ever use it. It's just for a straight edge. It's the same exact thing as this. But you can buy it cheaper online because it, you know, Temu and those places have centimeter rulers, and that's where you can find stuff like this. And you just have to get used to where the markings actually are, which is not in the place you think they would be. All right, we're going to go and move on now to my other room. These are just the main rulers for constant cutting of fabric in this room. So here we are in my sewing room, the room that I use the most. We're going to look at my pegboard. I'm not really going to 100% demonstrate these ones, but I'm showing you rulers and templates. So we have my favorite Quilter Select. They come in all sorts of sizes. I have the 8.5 and the 6.5. These are my favorite. When I first started quilting, I bought all the Fiskars sizes. So I have the 8.5 inch, the 6.5 inch, the 4.5 inch, and I also have a 10.5 inch square of the Fiskars, and I also have all sorts of other Fiskars stuff. I like that these have thin lines on them. The orange makes it really hard to see on dark fabrics, in my opinion, but these are still great rulers, and I use them when I need them. Moving over, templates. So these right here are my Fons and Porter fussy cutting templates. These are actually perfect for not just fussy cutting, for actually like sticking it on the fabric and cutting that square, you know, that size you need. So I have from the it's a 2.5 inch square, a 3.5 inch, 4.5, 5.5, and 6.5 inch square. But if I want to use them for fussy cutting, they're perfect for that. Then we have all sorts of these. So we have, if you're paper piecing, you have your add a quarter ruler. If you want to make a wedge quilt, this one is a Missouri Star wedge, so I can make a wedge quilt. The burst block, I have made a video using this burst block ruler, and then they make a bigger add a quarter ruler. They make 2 sizes of that. All right, let's get these up in here. And they all have holes in them, so it makes it easy to hang on pegboards. Then we have, Moda has a tumbler block that you can make. And Missouri Star makes a wacky web. Oops, that popped out. On the Missouri Star wacky web one, I haven't actually used that yet, but I have used my Moda tumbler. But it's nice to have if you really must have it. And I think I messed up where that goes. Let's put it right there. There we go. That's fine. And then we have the strip tube rulers. Now, you don't have to use these just for strip tubes. This could be used as your triangle cutter. You just line up the dotted line or the straight line with your stitch line, and you can cut your triangles out. So they have 2 rulers for that. So we got a strip tube big and a strip tube junior. Then Fons and Porter also makes an OmniGrid, makes theirs, it's for cutting your triangles as well. So know that there's tons of different brands. I can cut triangles with any one of these rulers. It makes it really simple to do. Then if you want to be more sophisticated and cut your dog ears at the same time, we have right here, these are the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmers. There's a trimmer A and a trimmer B. I'll put a link to these in the description below. But you can cut, and then there's slots in these on the sides. There's some slots that you would stick your rotary cutter in and trim your dog ears. So those work great. We're going to hang those back up. Triangle wise, oh my goodness, I can't even tell you how many. There is a easy quilting brand where you can get your half rectangle tool and your tri tool. So it's the triangle and the half rectangle. So you literally cut out your halves, and then your pieces that go to it to make your half rectangle triangles, you would have the side piece, and then you would cut the number you need here and cut the number you need here. Those actually come in handy if you're making half square rectangles. And then let's see. Triangles, all sorts of brands. You want triangles, equilateral triangles. Every brand makes these. I use these quite often because I like to make those. Creative Grids makes a half rectangle triangle, which I can use with any one of my triangles. Then we have the folded corner clipper. I don't really know how to use this tool, but I have it. And it can be used for anything. It's a ruler. It's a ruler. We get over here to templates or like fussy cutting of certain sizes. We have diamonds. So here's diamond rulers. We also have hexagons. So if you want to cut out a hexagon and you want your picture right in the center, you find that picture and you cut your hexagon out, and there's all the sizes on here to cut. Now, I don't use hexagons very often, but if I did make hexagon quilts and sewed them by machine, the bigger ones are better. Then we have this giant hexagon half triangle. So we have a diamond going on, an actual diamond shape. This is for your hexagon, and this is for your triangles. This I actually got off of Wish many, many years ago, wish.com, where you can order things. I got this off of there for like $1.50. And you know what? It's come in handy. You can tell I've used it a lot because it's scratched up like crazy. Then we have this tool right here. This one also does diamonds, half rectangle triangles, and triangles. It has all the markings. These ones, because it's an all-in-one tool, are a little bit more confusing, so save your books that come with them because they are a lot easier to use if you have the directions to use them. All right, moving on to some more complicated stuff that we don't use as often, and they're per projects. So I have some diamonds and triangles that are super duper tiny. I also have Dresdens. So Easy Quilt makes a Dresden, and Missouri Star makes a layer cake Dresden. So if you want to make your Dresdens, these are the tools that you would use. Then moving on, we have this ruler that I don't know where I put the directions, but this funky looking thing here. Yeah, this funky looking thing. It makes the Storm at Sea block. It makes diamond triangles. It makes corner squares and corner squares. If I find the book, I will remember how to use it. It's somewhere in my books. But I have this. Then I also have that Fiskars. Remember I was telling you in the other room that these Fiskars are harder to read in my opinion? Again, this is another one. It's just, the other one was pink and this one is black. Again, harder to use in my opinion, but they come in handy when you need them. Lastly, on this bottom one, this one I don't ever use. But if you were to make bias binding, they make a ruler right here so that you can do your bias binding at 2.5 inches. So there is a complete ruler with the cutout and everything to do your bias binding, which we don't use much, but you know, if you make a double wedding ring quilt, you definitely need bias binding for that. Further up here, the last on this shelf is, see if I can get these off of here. We have a flying geese trimmer. So there's a flying geese trimmer. I've only used it once, and it's, in my opinion, a little bit complicated to use, but if you save your book that comes with it, or the the cover thing, you'll remember how to use it. And lastly, which I used a lot when I first got it, is a pineapple ruler. This is, again, specific project related. So it's made for making pineapple blocks. So if you want to make pineapple blocks, this makes it a little bit easier to use. All right, moving on. And then one more behind this little cute butterfly, this one right here. This is also a binding tool, but this binding tool doesn't have to be for bias. You can use this for regular. You cut off your corners, and you just cut and make your binding, and then you can just hook end to end. You flip it to the other side, cut the other side, flip it to the other side. That way every side is in opposite direction. I used this a lot in the beginning, but now I make binding with ease. But I still have the ruler in case, a friend comes over and wants to learn how to do it. Let's go to another area. This is a lot, okay? There is a lot of brands of rulers, so many brands. Omnigrip has a 12.5. Like I said, I like the Omnigrip ones. They have some kind of like embedded feeling to them on the back side. So when you do put them on, they do butt up nicely, in my opinion, to your fabric. So that was a 12.5. Like I said, I have a Fiskars. I thought I said 10.5, but actually it's a 12.5 that I have. So Fiskars has one. Again, easy to read in my opinion. The orange part itself though makes it harder on dark fabrics, but that really doesn't matter if you're cutting a 12.5-inch square. But the lines in between are great. Then I have another one of these Fiskars. Like I said, I don't know if they updated, but this one has a film on the back of it. So this one holds a lot better. So this one I keep up on the shelf. This one's an easy to grab. And because of that film, it makes it not slip on the fabric as bad. And I think you can buy that sticky film anywhere, but I have one on this. So I have 2 pink ones because I forgot about one and bought another, you know, that's just how it happens. Then Omnigrid, this one doesn't have all that grid stuff on it, which is actually good. In my opinion, the grid one screws it completely up. This one is a 15-inch Omnigrid. This doesn't have all the markings, super easy to read, and I use this often. Then we have the 8.5 by 24.5 Quilter Select ruler. I love Quilter Select. It's my favorite ruler. There's only one problem with the Quilter Select, in my opinion. You cannot see black fabric under it. So I'm very careful. I put my glasses on so that I can see better, and then I lay it down and cut it. Another thing for this one, specifically this long ruler as opposed to the Fiskars long ruler, this one you need to get yourself like a holder thing to pick it up, because you can't slide this one when you're cutting off the bolt easy at all. It takes the fabric with it. So I highly recommend something that you can put on it. This is a generic little holder that you can get at Harbor Freight or Walmart or anything. It's supposed to go in the shower, but you can use it for anything. It picks it up off the fabrics to keep the fabric from shifting, because it'll shift with this if you have to try to slide it without, because you can't get your fingers underneath it very well. Other long rulers, I love this. So this is from So Be It Quilts. This is a quilter's slide lock. So when I'm cutting a lot of yardage and I'm using my cutting mat to cut it, this, you put it on your fabric, on your yardage, and you slide it, push down on it, it sticks to the fabric. So you barely put any pressure, you make your cut, slide it to the next spot, put some pressure, make your cut, and so on and so forth. I love this thing and I use it a lot for cutting yardage. Then Missouri Star not only makes, I know I have 2 of these, they don't only make the small one, they make a lot of rulers. They also have a 10 by 10-inch square and so on. I just have these. They have the 5-inch by 15. Great for pre-cuts, both of these. I use these more than any rulers in the whole entire house. They sit right here. It's my grab-and-go ruler. Problem is, darker fabrics, in my opinion, are harder to see under these colors. Then we have, remember that smaller one? This is the super sidekick. So that smaller half rectangle triangle and equilateral triangle and whatever. This is by Jaybird Quilts. They make a large one. So you can actually get your super sidekick instead of just the small one. I have both. In my opinion on this next one, this is something you don't need in your sewing room. We're going to add the don't need in here. Is this. Fiskars a long time ago made this ruler right here. You literally, oh, it's upside down. You literally place it on the fabric, line it up, this edge with where you need it to be on whatever number, and then push down on this and slide it down. And it has a blade in there that will cut as you're working. Problem is, as I noticed with this one, okay, that's why you don't see me using it. With this one, I think the numbers are off with this whole added thing right here, because this is another inch, right? When I was cutting using this, I was missing things, and things were becoming not correct sizes. So I stopped using it. It's great for cutting yardage if you're lining up on the lines on your cutting mat, but for anything else, I really never use this. So in my opinion, this is a no-go in your sewing room. You don't need this one. Then we have, do you make bags? I make bags. We have a box bag tool. So this does the corners of your boxed bags. So you're making a lot of bags and you need those corners boxed. This is a tool to do that. Also, if you're making bags, they make a tool. It's a ruler template, same thing, that you can make your zipper markouts. Right here, it has markings on it and says how to use it. Templates. There are templates for any kind of quilt that you would want to make. I have made a video of the Cleopatra's fan. This is a template set for a Cleopatra's fan. I just want the rulers out of here. Get it out. And it comes with the book. And then it comes with all the templates. Now, Cleopatra's fan is a curved quilt, hard to make. You must have the templates. It works so much better. But I have the template set for that. Then another curved quilt that is a lot of people's favorite is the double wedding ring. So in this bag here, not only do I have the book, like I said, save the books. You need the books. I have all the templates to make a double wedding ring. I have made a double wedding ring. Here on my channel, there are videos. So just know the templates make it so much easier to make it. And you can make it 2 different styles with this template set. And this is an Omnigrid template set. I have this tub here. This is more templates and things like that. So we're going to go through. I haven't used this yet. I want to use it. Missouri Star put out a little template to make an ugly sweater quilt. I haven't used it yet, but you draw the little sweaters out on your fabric and then you cut them out and make an ugly sweater quilt using applique. I'm going to try it, but they do make a template for all sorts of things, like I said. I personally was made for me. I have this Drunkard's Path template for 5-inch squares. This was made for me with my direction towards the person who made it. And I have a custom Tiffany's Quilting Life Drunkard's Path template. No, I don't have any for sale. This is mine and mine only, my personal one. But Drunkard's Path template's a good template. Then we have, I haven't used it yet, the clamshell. This was on my bucket list of things to make, is a clamshell. I will eventually make it. I have the ruler. It has the instructions. I haven't taken it out of the plastic, but they make a template for it. Then we have Missouri Star made this quilt project that you can use a hexagon mixed in like this. So you put your one hexagon, you cut it out, and then you cut out your other size hexagon. You put them together, and you can make a quilt all in one. It's a quilt as you go project. Haven't tried it. Want to try it. Eventually I will. But I have the template for it. We have bias squares. I don't know how to use this tool. The book is in here somewhere. Got that. We have jelly roll project. So this is a half hexagon project. I haven't opened it yet, but eventually I will. We have this. I don't know why I haven't broke this yet. It is an Omnigrid ruler. See, against my shirt. It's a long straight thing. You put this on your fabric on the diagonal. So if you want to do square and so on both sides to make 2 half square triangles, you put this on the corner diagonally. Then you mark your line on one side and mark your line on the other. It's an exact 1/4 inch marking line. This tool is a 1/2 inch thick. It will break because the other one I had did break, but this one hasn't. It's lasted quite a while. But this is for marking your 10-inch squares or such, because yeah, you can't really use seam tape on the machine for marking those. Then I have a log cabin. This is a quilt in a day log cabin. So you cut out your pieces. I've used this in a video before. 2.5, 2.5 by 4.5, 2.5 by 6.5, 2.5 by 8.5. And this cuts out all of your pieces. You use it to cut your pieces for making, just line it up on the next one for making your log cabins. Then I have this thing. It's called a quick curve ruler. I've used it once, well, more than once in the same setting. I used it. I wasn't quite sure how to make it, the item that I was trying to make. It's really cool in theory, and they do make a book about it. But I just haven't used it enough to, you know, suffice the fact that it was purchased, if that makes any sense. Then I have Quilt in a Day Flying Geese templates. I mean, they make all sorts of templates. I have a template for, I don't even know, it's a binding miter tool. Oh, it helps you miter. They have kits that you can buy that are half square triangles, Omnigrid, so you can fussy cut out your half square triangles. They also have square template sets, so you can cut out and fussy cut square template sets made by Omnigrid. Omnigrid also makes easy hexagon star templates, so if you want to cut out a star, they make templates for that. Oh, I have the Missouri Star tumbler and the Motor tumbler. I use the Motor tumbler, but here's the Missouri Star one unused. You know, we don't get to use all of them. Then let's see, what else do we have in here? Something I haven't used is the Simply Crazy. It's made by Easy Quilter. I haven't used it yet, have the directions, just need to pop it out and use it. All sorts of flying geese, mini squares, mini hexagons. My daughter bought those for me. I have all the minis. I did make the mini Dresden. That's why that one's not in the package. So I have all these little mini ones. Put my mini Dresden back in there. They're so cute, these little mini Dresdens. Then Quilt in a Day also has a 4.5 on point ruler. So when you want to stick your blocks on point, keep the book, and you can do that. Let's see, what else do we have in here? Oh, a centimeter ruler. So for those that are outside of the US, if you do centimeters, most of us do 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, so on and so forth. So it's not really needed, but you know, if you need it, it's there, because I see videos online all the time that say centimeters, 22 centimeters, 3 centimeters, 16 centimeters. I got a ruler for that. All sorts of triangles. I have triangles like you wouldn't believe, and the half parts for them. I just have tons because I've made a ton of them. Then I have this unused. I've been wanting to make it. It's called Diamond Jubilee. It looks like a wedding ring quilt, kind of. It makes a curved quilt. I just haven't used it yet, and I keep saying, oh, I'm going to dig it out and use it, and I haven't yet, but I have it, so eventually I will use it. I do have another centimeter ruler. Like I said, I watch a lot of videos that are made from outside the country, and they use centimeters, so it's nice to have the centimeter rulers. This is for sewing regular clothing. I have it because, you know, just in case I need it. I have other kinds of triangles. We got a perfect patchwork corner trimmer. Wish, I used to shop on Wish all the time when I started. So they're in the bag, but I've used them. So I got a triangle. I got a diamond, which I've used. And I don't know, there's more in here, but I've, like, literally, like I'm saying. Okay, we have another pineapple ruler. This is another, I'm just going to put it on this package. Well, you can't see it. It's a pineapple ruler. This one's a little bit different than the other one. I don't know where the directions are to this one. This one is for a different quilt. So there's another pineapple ruler to make pineapple quilts. Then I have this, I had to tape it on there. It's called Around the Block. It has the curves that you would mark for cutting, for doing your, what is the word for it? Drunkard's Path. It has the curves in there. Then Double Wedding Ring makes all sorts of brands make double wedding ring rulers. This one is different. This one is a totally different way of doing it. It's literally on a straight ruler like this. And you cut all your pieces, you line them and cut them by shaping them onto there. So I guess you can fussy cut. I have the directions, I just haven't used it yet because it's a little more confusing than the Omnigrid one. This I haven't made yet. I really want to because the pattern is in there. This is the jewel box template, and it makes gems so that I can make quilts that look like this. I just haven't used it yet, but it comes with both the templates in there. Then I know a lot of people have made this. I have not yet. I got them and I want to make them. I have the twister tool. I have 2 of them. I have the big one and the little one. The twister tool to make twister quilts. Bowl cozy, if you make bowl cozies, everybody. I have this one and a smaller one. So I make bowl cozies by using the templates for them, you know, because it's easier with the template than trying to do it by hand. And then this is just nothing. That's for clothing. But like I said, there are tools and rulers for everything. And these days now, if you want to make stuff, you can also buy these things. You don't need a ruler. Well, you do to trim it, but these are little paper piecing things. So you can make it all and it's on there. So you can buy these and you don't need the rulers. You don't need no specialty ruler to do these little papers and paper piece them. So that's, I figured I'd add that. They make all sorts of these now. And that's that. That is all of them. What is this one? Oh, that's just more papers. So I have so many things. Some I use all the time. Some I got and planned on using, like these. And especially this one. I really, really love these style quilts. And eventually I will use it and make it. So there are lots of different brands. You find what you like, what makes easy for you to read, especially when it comes to your average everyday cutting. Find something that you can read. In my honest opinion, some of the ones with outlines are harder to read. If it just has a nice clear line that you can see, easier to read, make it work for you. But there's so many brands. There's more brands than I actually have here in my room. And I have a lot of rulers. So find what you need. Know that there's more. And if you're a beginner, I'm sorry to overwhelm you, but you're going to see all these things that you want to make. You're going to buy the tool. Don't be like me. Use the tool, and maybe it'll, you can type in the comments, oh, I use that tool, and it might give me the strength to finally use some of these. So, and I totally forgot. So let's add this in. From the rulers that make things grippy, these True Grips. I'll try to get a link for you. They are True Cut True Grips. And these are the little clear things that you put on the back of the ruler to keep them from slipping. I actually like these better than other stuff. These are so much easier to use, and you can peel them off when you need them. They don't have to stay on forever. So these are what I recommend, in my opinion, are the better for the back sides of your rulers to keep them from slipping. So I will put a link in the description for all of the products that I can find in the description below this video. And then one more thing other than these, if you want, I did a video a really long time ago, really long time ago, about using hot glue on the back of your rulers. Now I do have hot glue on the back of some of my rulers. Tracy at the Sewing Channel did a hack video where she actually showed you a better way than I did it to put the hot glue on the back. So you would literally take and put, you get some oven paper, you lay it down, and then you put your hot glue drops on and then press this to it. Wait for it to dry, peel the oven paper off, and you'll have nice flat circles that are as flat as using these. So you might want to try the hot glue method for making nonstick rulers as well. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my video. Thanks for watching, and sorry we went ruler crazy. Bye, everybody.